Hello friends, my name is Dina, and today you're going to listen to my story. I had the same mother-in-law problem that a lot of people here seem to have. Honestly, I was surprised to see so many entitled mother-in-laws roaming around. It is pretty scary. My mother-in-law Vivian is also an entitled and delusional woman. I realized that as soon as I married my husband Carter. Vivian wasn't dependent on us, but she did have a tendency to assume ownership of everything around her. She even calls our stuff hers if she lays her hand on it. This behavior stemmed from the fact that she was a super greedy woman and liked to have a luxurious life. Unfortunately for her, she never had the money for it. For the most part, Vivian and I managed to avoid conflicts, mostly because I kept my mouth shut. But once a big incident escalated and changed the way I dealt with her. You see, at that time, I had recently gotten a vintage car in my possession. It was my grandfather's car that was left to me in his will after he passed away. Back then, that car was super important to me, and I was glad to have it with me. But to my mother-in-law, it was just another thing that needed to be sold and the money shared with her. Carter and I had avoided telling her about the car because we knew she would say something ridiculous like, "Sell the car and give me money." And Vivian didn't disappoint at all. Vivian was staying with us for a couple of days because her house was under emergency renovation, totally her fault, but that story is for some other day. So Vivian moves into our home and immediately refers to it as hers. It was annoying, but I ignored her like I always do. Now, the real problem occurred when she checked out the garage and found my vintage car there. She was immediately back in the house and said, "Why is there a vintage car in your garage?" "Oh, that's my car, actually. I recently got it from my grandfather, who just passed away. So you can say it was my inheritance. That is a freaking expensive car. I Googled it, and it says that the price is around $100,000. That is a lot of money. I hope you're not thinking about keeping it." Of course I'm keeping it. It was my late grandfather's car and has a lot of sentimental value attached to it. There is no way I'm selling it. You are absolutely insane. Listen to me, Dana. Think about what I said. You can sell the car and do so much with the money. You're being selfish by keeping the car and not selling it. We, as your family, deserve to enjoy your inheritance as well. Vivian's words were downright delusional. First of all, what I did with my private property wasn't her business. Secondly, I wasn't obligated to share my assets with her. What the hell was wrong with her? I really didn't know how to respond to her, so I left her be and hoped that she wouldn't bring up this topic again. Well, I was wrong. She was super persistent and kept bringing it up. That night when we were quietly enjoying our dinner, Vivian brought up the topic of selling my car again. She suddenly said, "So, have you thought about what I said? Did you make the decision to sell your car?" For the last freaking time, Vivian, I'm not selling my car. That is just not possible. This is completely unacceptable. Dina, you cannot simply have a car that costs so much. You are not a millionaire. Your Honda is good enough for you. You need to think about your family and sell the car and split the money. That way, everyone will get to enjoy it. You cannot dictate what I do with my car, Vivian. That is totally up to me. I don't mind having the car sit in my garage. It is a sentimental car, and I always wanted to inherit it. I am not selling it to anyone. Carter, you need to tell your wife that she should sell the car. She can't just have an expensive car sitting around when we can have the money. Vivian had expected Carter to take her side. I can see why she would think that. Carter had a hard time saying no to her or setting proper boundaries. But he had been learning and getting better. So imagine Vivian's shock when Carter said, "Mom, it is her car, so she will decide what to do with it." You already hurt her. The car has a lot of sentimental value. If she doesn't want to sell it, we are no one to force her. But Carter, it's just so much money. Even if it is a lot of money, that money is all hers. We don't get to decide what she wants to do with it. Let her be, Mom. You were being too invasive. You shouldn't comment on things that we privately own. Vivian looked pretty deflated by her son's words. Like I said, she had expected him to listen to her and take her side. When he didn't do that, she knew that all hope was gone. She didn't stop trying, though. She always made small comments about the car and how it would be so nice to have $100,000 in cash. It was getting downright annoying, but I was ignoring it. Apparently, I should have done better because she managed to steal and sell my car from right under my nose. That car was precious to me, and I couldn't rest until it was back in its place. I frantically called Carter just to make sure he didn't know anything about the missing car. Carter, did you take my car by any chance? It's not in the garage. What? No, I took my Mustang. What do you mean it's not in the garage? I saw it right there before I left. I don't know, Carter. It's not in the garage anymore. I discovered it missing when I opened the garage to take my Honda to work. I'm freaking out. Carter, calm down. Dina, we will find out where the car is. You need to go check our security cameras and see who took it. You can call the cops as soon as you find something. I wish I could help, but I'll be in an important meeting in a few minutes. Still, you can call me if needed. Carter calmed me down before telling me what I should do next. He was right. I needed to check the security cameras first. I opened the app on my phone and pulled up the videos of that morning. There, I found something really strange and disturbing. I saw that it was my freaking mother-in-law who had taken the car. Even after I told her hundreds of times not to touch the damn car, she didn't listen. I was extremely pissed. I called her and recorded the conversation. Vivian, where the hell are you? Why did you take my car? I'll relax now, will you? I just took it out for a short ride. No, you need to come back right now. I need my car back. I didn't give you permission to use it. It was sitting in your garage, Dana. Since you don't want to sell it, I might as well make good use of it. Now stop calling me. I'll come back home when I come home. I was fuming at Vivian, to be honest. I'd almost called the cops on her. I was that furious. But I decided to give her a chance. She was my mother-in-law, after all. If she returned my car without any damage, I would just make her face some consequences and make sure this didn't happen again. In that case, I would not need the cops to get involved. I really didn't want to waste their time for nothing. But when Vivian didn't return for a while, I was starting to change my mind. What I didn't know was that things were about to get much worse. After an hour, I heard Vivian come in through the door. I was surprised to see that she hadn't come back with my car. I immediately knew that something was wrong. What was more worrying was the fact that she had brought several shopping bags with her. They were all luxury brands that she definitely couldn't afford. I ran up to her to confront her and ask her what the hell was going on. I angrily stopped her and said, "What the hell, Vivian? Where is my car?" "It's sitting in your driveway." "I'm talking about my vintage car, Vivian. Where is it?" "What did you do?" "Oh, you mean your vintage car? Well, I guess you can say goodbye to your $100,000 car." "Oops, too late." "It's already gone." "What do you mean it's too late?" "You need to be more clear, Vivian. I'm running out of patience. I did what you should have done a long time ago. I sold your car." Vivian said that very nonchalantly. She literally had no remorse. In fact, she looked very pleased with herself when she said that. My anxiety had now converted into pure rage. I couldn't believe what Vivian was saying. She just said that she sold my freaking vintage car. I tried not to yell at her, but it was difficult since I was close to exploding. I said, "You sold my car? Are you serious right now?" "Yes, I'm very serious, Dana. I sold your car today itself. It did bring in some good money. How do you think I paid for all that stuff? Let me just recount everything to see if I got it right. You stole my car, and instead of returning it safely to my garage, you sold it for cash." "Yes, that's exactly what I did." "Why do you look so surprised, Dana? I told you that you need to sell the car. Having such an expensive car sitting in the garage is a waste of money." "Are you freaking insane, Vivian? Who gave you the right to steal my property and sell it for your own benefit?" "You're getting ahead of yourself, Dinah. I do plan on using the money for family stuff too. I've just booked plane tickets to Alaska. We will have a nice time at a ski resort that I always wanted to go to. See, I'm not the only one who'll be enjoying the money. If you behave, I might give you some of the money so that you can buy something for yourself." Vivian was just making my blood boil. I was so freaking close to losing it. Some part of my brain refused to believe what Vivian was saying. It was difficult to comprehend someone being so damn entitled that they would sell something that isn't theirs. But with my mother-in-law, everything was possible. Despite everything, I decided to give her one more chance. "Listen to me, Vivian. You will take your car, drive to the place where you sold my car, and bring it back to me right now. I will say this only once. Take this as your last chance not to mess up your life." "Are you threatening me, Dana?" "Well, that's not going to work. The car is sold, and I already spent some of the money. Besides, I didn't sell it just so you can demand to bring it back. So you are saying that you won't bring my car back? I gave you a chance to reverse your stupidity, and you won't take it. Is that right? God, you're slow, Dina. There's no way I am bringing your car back. Like I said, it's long gone now. You can go drive your Honda for all I care." "All right then, don't say that I didn't give you a chance." Vivian didn't even bother to hear the last part. She simply took her shopping bags and went to her room. My mind was spinning at the freaking audacity of this insane woman. But I knew that yelling at her would work. I needed to act fast if I wanted to get my car back. So I did what any sane person would do. I called the cops and told them what happened. The cops were at my house in 15 minutes. By that time, I went and fetched the papers that said that the car belonged to me. I welcomed the cops inside and showed them all the proof. I also showed them the security footage of my mother-in-law driving away with my car and not returning it. They saw it all and decided to call Vivian. She came downstairs looking annoyed, but froze when she saw the cops waiting. She then sweetly said, "Good afternoon, officers. What brings you to my home? Is my daughter-in-law in some sort of trouble?" "Mom, your daughter-in-law is pressing charges against you for stealing and selling her car illegally." "Oh no, there must be some mistake, officers. As you can see, her car is sitting right in the garage. She's just being mean by calling you here, Mom. This is not about the Honda you're pointing at. We're talking about the vintage car that you sold today. There is no vintage car in my house, officers. This might be some sort of misunderstanding. We are not that rich to own a vintage car, Mom. We literally have paperwork and video evidence of everything. Plus, there is insurance involved. There is no use lying to us when the officers made it clear that her lies wouldn't work." That way, B changed tactics. She came up with a different sort of lie. Honestly, it was quite amusing to see her invent some crazy stories to cover up her crime. She looked a little embarrassed and said, "Oh, that one, officers. I might have gotten confused. Yes, she used to own a car like that, but she asked me to sell it, so that's what I did. Why the hell are you lying to the officers, Vivian? I never gave you permission to even drive the car, let alone steal it. Dina, what the hell? You can't just change your mind like that. Are you doing this to trap me? That is so wicked. Officers, you must understand that Dina is trying to trap me. I swear she gave me permission to sell it. Oh, really, Vivian? So how do you explain your phone call where I clearly said that you need to bring my car home, and I don't want you driving or touching it? What phone call, Dana? You're just talking nonsense. I simply pulled out my phone and played the call recording where I was telling Vivian to come home and leave my car alone. It also had proof that I didn't give her permission to use the car, and I wanted the car home, not sold off to some illegal business. The officers listened to the voice recording and were very annoyed. They gave Vivian the most "don't mess with us" look and said, "Are you going to come up with more lies, or is that it?" Well, I can explain. Just hear me out. You don't need to do that anymore, Mom. You can talk at the police station now. You're under arrest for the theft of your daughter-in-law's car. Now Vivian looks really afraid. She was gulping hard and started to have tears in her eyes. She tried to come up with more lies, but the officers cuffed her without listening. She should have shut up, but her anxiety didn't let her. Instead, she decided to ask me for help. Yes, she literally changed her demeanor within a few minutes. She went from being confident to a scared animal begging for help. She turned to me and said, "Dina, you can't let this happen. You can't make your own mother-in-law get arrested. Think of what people will say." I don't care what people will say, Vivian. You committed a crime and need to be arrested, and I will do anything to get my car back. It's just a car, Dina. There's no reason to get me arrested for that. We can talk and work this out. Trust me, you don't want your mother-in-law getting arrested. We're family. You sure didn't care about my family when you sold my car. You literally sold a piece of my family's history. You don't get to play the family card. Now Vivian was already in tears and kept begging me to let it go. She was delusional, and she thought that I was going to let her get away with her horrendous behavior. She tried pleading with me up until she was taken to the cop car. But before she got in, she shouted at me, "This is not the end, Dana. I will get my son involved. He will put you back in your place." Well, good luck with that, Vivian. I'm sure your son will do what is right. You worry about getting out of jail. I said goodbye to my car, but you will say hello to a lawsuit. You will get nothing. My son will protect me. He will come to rescue me and kick you out of the house. Well, her son did go to the police station, but not to rescue her. When Carter called me and asked what was going on, I told him to meet me at the police station. I needed to go physically file a case, so it would be better for me to meet him there. Plus, I wanted to see Vivian's face when Carter made his assessment of the situation. Carter and I met and went straight to Vivian. She saw him and started to cry. She said, "Carter, look what your wife has done. She hates me so much that she put me in jail. I cannot be here, Carter. You need to do something." "Dina, what's going on? Why did you put Mom in jail?" "Hey, Vivian, want to explain to your son what you did with my car?" Vivian was now suddenly very quiet. She was thinking of an explanation that would make her look less bad. Unfortunately for her, she couldn't come up with anything. She remained quiet with her head down. Carter said, "Mom, say something. Why are you quiet?" "What will she say, Carter? She stole and sold my car to someone. Then she came home with shopping bags and informed me that she has booked us a vacation in freaking Alaska." "Wait, what? Mom, what the hell did you do?" Oh, there was more, Carter. The cops got a name out of her. They contacted the man, and he said that the car had been damaged a little after delivery. So, this will be a big lawsuit. I can already see $1 million. Oh my God, Mom. What have you done? I told you to stay the hell away from Denna's car. Why can't you just listen for once? Carter never talked to his mother in this tone. Vivian was surprised and did not at all like this. She was now crying and trying to make him feel bad for her. But I knew that Carter wouldn't save her this time. He knew where to draw the line. Vivian still tried and said, "Son, you need to get me out of here. I can't be in this place. You have to convince Dina to drop the case. I cannot afford the lawsuit, you know that." "Why the hell would I do that, Mom? You are the one who committed a crime by doing something so utterly stupid. Carter, if you don't help me, my life will be ruined. I'll be broke and still need to serve in jail. You should have thought about that before committing a crime. I will support Dina and what she is doing. This time you have taken things too far. I cannot forgive this, Mom. You are on your own." Vivian kept begging us to help and change her mind. Yes, she went back to begging me for forgiveness as well. Not that I was going to listen to her. Carter was extremely pissed and decided to leave the police station with me. He was really apologetic about his mom's actions and said that he would never forgive her for this. He actually encouraged me to pursue my case and get my car back. I did eventually get my car back. It took a while. The car was in a small accident with the buyer and got badly dented. With vintage cars, repair costs can skyrocket. All these, along with lawyer fees and all, Vivian did end up paying $1 million for the lawsuit. She was forced to sell her own childhood home and take on debts as well. It was a horrible situation for her, but she didn't have our sympathy. Carter made it clear to her that we didn't want her around anymore. He also said that she better not expect to hear from us for a long time. That got her crying and throwing a tantrum again. Word of her arrest and the lawsuit spread like wildfire. Her friends dropped her because they didn't want to associate with criminals. Her family was also extremely pissed with her because who the hell sells stuff that they stole from others? I was truly glad to see that the rest of the family had sane people. Anyway, we're still in no contact with Vivian, and the lawsuit has been settled. I got back my car and had a very experienced mechanic work on it. It was all paid for by my dear mother-in-law, of course. The mechanic was so good that you wouldn't even know that it was damaged. So I got my new car, while Vivian lost her own house and is now living in a rented apartment, alone and desperate for company.